What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Two Brothers, Same Mother. Of course, we got Sheik here and we got AJ as well. Let's set it up so that you can see both of us. There we go. Man, interesting week for sports in general. Obviously, March Madness is going on. One of the most exciting March Madness tournaments in a long time, and you chose a hell of a year not to be interested.
Story of my life.
Hey man, but there was some other stuff going on too. One mainly NFL free agency in the opening of the year. So I kind of just want to go by team to team as far as either free agents they picked up or where you think they stand, and we'll do the Eagles last. So we'll start with the Dallas Cowboys, which the biggest news we talked about last week was the Dak Prescott extension, but nothing else beyond that. In your opinion, do you think like, hey man, are they the front runners to finally not be the Dallas Cowboys and win the division and play up to expectations?
No. First of all, I don't believe in their coach. Um, so I think they'll make it interesting all year. Um, I don't off the top of my head, I can't even think of no major signing that they really did outside of the Dak thing. But I'm saying
Yeah,
as
I
far
don't
as
think they
bringing in,
have really,
I think they brought in a defensive back, but it's like kind of like what the Eagles did with their first free agent signing, like basically a depth guy. You know what I mean?
So we look at the other two teams in the division. And let's start with the Washington football team. They've done a few things. They signed Curtis Samuel, who, was kind of a Mr. Everything for the Panthers that wasn't named McCaffrey, and brought in Fitzmagic, man. It looks like Fitzpatrick will be the starter there, and they'll probably end up drafting somebody else. That's the way it's looking.
That's the way it
Um,
looks.
you know,
Unless, unless for some reason, because if you remember, they signed um Heineke or whatever his name is, Heineke or
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
that quarterback. They signed him. So do they think he could be the future and they're letting Fitzpatrick sit like you know what I'm saying?
I don't think so. If I had to guess, Washington's picking 19th, right? So, and there's considered up to 5 quarterbacks that could be first rounders.
Hmm.
So I would imagine, listen, Washington's defense is pretty stacked right now.
They're
You,
pretty solid, yes.
you got now 2 receivers in McLaurin and Samuel. Um, the kid Logan Thomas started emerging that he might be a decent tight end. The running back, and I forget his name, but he became a pleasant surprise. They're going to give him a chance to be. It might
The
be the
rookie kid,
next.
yeah.
What's that?
The rookie kid. Yeah.
Yeah, might be their next Alfred Morris. So you could, maybe that's where Mac Jones falls.
But real quick, I think that's who Kyle Trask is gonna go to Washington because I think Jones or yeah, Mac Jones is gonna end up going to New England. I don't know why I just got this huge feeling. But anyway, so
He'd be
with
a great
them,
fit for New England.
yeah. But I'm trying to because like you said, um I see Washington drafting, like you said, a quarterback. Their defense, man, they get after you with their front four. That's just disgusting, man. Their defense is just legitimately legit. Like they're a good defense. Um, I I'm willing to put that front four up against any other defensive line in the league. So I think, like I said, Dallas will make it interesting, but I think Washington will be one of the teams to compete, especially with Fitzmagic. You know what I mean? Like you don't gotta go, and I know this sounds weird, but you don't have to win 10 games, 10, 11 games to win this division. So
Right. Well, here's the interesting thing too. The way things are shaping up, I mean, this year is going to be so weird because 1/4 of the teams, right? At least 8 teams are going to have a new quarterback. At least, if not damn near half the league. So with that being said, you Washington could sneak in and win 10 games. Um, Dallas on paper, and this is the story that we've heard for 20 years, should win 10 games with their talent. But as you mentioned, and I agree with you, Mike McCarthy, I have no faith in Mike
Yeah,
McCarthy.
between McCarthy and that defense, I'm not sold.
I personally think that the division is going to come down to the Cowboys and the Giants.
No, I don't
Man.
think so.
I think that here's what I and this is why. I think now, granted, I'm probably going to be 100% wrong. I think this is the year Daniel Jones puts it all together. Because if Daniel Jones puts it all together, and you have Saquon in that backfield, their line is average, but you got 3 stud wide receivers now with Golladay and Steve Slayton and their other receiver that was number 1. Their number 1 last year. I can't remember his name now off the top of my head. So Sterling Shepard, okay.
And John Ross. Don't forget John Ross.
And then you got John Ross. You also got Evan Ingram and Kyle Rudolph. Yes. So the question with the Giants is, can their defense be average?
Well, I will say this. I agree with the Giants. I think the Giants will win the division. Their defense was a top 10 defense last year. Their defense was really good.
Right. I thought you were disagreeing with me with the Giants.
No, I was disagreeing with you with the Cowboys. When you said
I got you. Cowboys. You think it's going to come down to the Giants and Washington? And you know what? Here's the thing. I think it is going to be a 3-horse race. And I would not be surprised by that. And listen. I go by if you've watched this show, every time I pick the Cowboys to win, they lost. So me thinking the Cowboys are going to be good, hopefully they crumple.
Right. Well, my thing is this is my theory. You got 2 teams in the Giants and Washington who have 2 legit defense, have good defenses, right? Both guys, you're going to have Fitzmagic, who knows how to a game manager, right? You have Daniel Jones that surrounded him with so many pieces that almost you and I could be subpar in that offense as quarterbacks. Could keep away. So, and that's why I think the Cowboys, because both of those teams are set up to make an offense go 3 and out and then use up 6-7 minute drives, score a touchdown. Now you're 3 and out. Touchdown. Now all of a sudden, it's 3 minutes right before halftime. You're down 14-0, and you're like shit. And the Giant, and you get what I'm saying. So I think that's how they're doing it, and I personally feel that's how we should go. It doesn't look like it.
You mean with the draft?
But with the draft, yeah. So, and that's why I think the Cowboys. So what, these aren't. Neither one of those 2 teams, how their defense is set up now, is one of those teams that the Cowboys could fall down 21-0, 28-0, 24-0. You know what I mean? And be able to come back. Those defenses are just too good for that. And I just don't see the Cowboys doing that.
Yeah. And I mean, the sad thing is
they'll beat us. Just those teams will beat us. I mean, we may pull a win against Washington or a win against the Giants or something like that. But overall, they're just better. They're just better.
And here's the thing. Like, this is one of those things where the Eagles, it's going to be hard for the Eagles to get 6 wins this year, even with the extra game. If you look at where the talent's at. And here's why. Maybe you could get 2 wins out of the division. Because the division has got, and that's not being pessimistic. That's just, look, the other 3 teams in the division have more talent. And Nick Sirianni, we don't know what type of coach he is. He might be worse or he might be better than McCarthy. If he's worse than McCarthy, then he's 1 and done, I think. But we do know Ron Rivera is a very, very good coach. And Judge looks like he's a good coach. We'll see what happens there.
They definitely were playing for him.
Yeah. So, you got that. You do have a last place schedule. So, yeah, you do get to play Detroit and you do get to play San Fran and you'll get to play the Jets. But we also still got to play the Raiders and the Chiefs and the Chargers and the Broncos. And, like Denver's the only game that I see that where I feel confident that we pull out a win. With that being said, I think the Eagles made a very good signing in Anthony Harris. He was a Pro Bowler 2 years ago, has some injury issues. It's a 1-year deal. So if he ends up being great, awesome. If he doesn't, it's just 1 year, right? And it's
Right.
not going to block Kayvon Wallace from getting any time.
Right.
I would have loved to see them bring in Adoree Jackson, but he signed with the Giants before even visiting the Eagles, which hopefully brings up the point that you were making that, hey, man, all signs point to Patrick Surtain.
Yeah, you know what's going to happen, right?
We going to draft quarterback.
No, that's completely out of the question. We're going to sign AJ Bouye or somebody like that. And then we're going to draft Kyle Pitts, especially after he just ran a 4.46 in his pro day.
Here's my thing. I don't think that that's an awful thing to have Pitts.
It's not. It's just me being a spoiled brat, and I want the guy who I want, and it's just I'm not getting my way.
What I will say is this, as far as getting back to free agency moves that were surprising. One, Mitchell Trubisky trying to do the Jameis Winston and signing to be the backup at Buffalo.
Yeah, I have my thoughts on that. Okay.
No, go ahead.
So I think that was kind of like a smart move because it was like a 1-year deal by Mitch because I think he's looking at it as he has almost the same skill set as Allen. Almost. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it's like if this dude, if that offensive coach and that quarterback coach there can kind of rejuvenate Allen, maybe he can, maybe it's like one of those. I look at it, I think personally that I think Trubisky's doing one of those, let me take one step back so this way I can move 2 steps forward.
Right. I agree with you. I think it was very smart. I think, and the other thing was Juju Smith-Schuster, easy for me to say,
right,
decided to take less money and less years to stay with the Steelers over the Eagles and the Ravens. And if what he's saying is true, which there's no reason to doubt the guy, that he just loves Pittsburgh so much and loves the community, and I kind of applaud the dude for that. Like if
for that,
you know what I'm saying? So, but I thought it was interesting. Now, the other thing too, if I was a free agent right now, would be let me sign a 1-year deal, and next year I know the cap is going to be so high and cash in next year.
I think that's why you're seeing so many 1-year deals too.
Right. So beyond free agency, there was a anniversary this past weekend of the beloved vet being exploded. Yeah, it's not there. The vet is definitely down there somewhere. The vet might be where you actually go into if you're going to hell. That's you're in line.
Yes.
Or at least the vet bathrooms are. Good God. But I will say this. The vet is one of those things. Every single player hated the vet. Whether you played for the team, played, against the team, whatever. The fans, it did have a certain charm to it. Mm-hmm. You can name more than one, but a favorite memory of yours from the vet.
Oh, we were talking about earlier today. That moment right before Hugh Douglas got the sack on Sean King in the 2000 playoff game, that wild card game, just you and I sitting there and 70,000 people on their feet to the point to where the rafters were literally shaking, seats were vibrating. It was just in that moment. It was just that will, like when we were talking earlier about it, like it literally us talking about that gave me goosebumps.
We'll get to the 5-pack of questions. So my first question. If you could bring in any coach to coach in Philadelphia, what coach would you bring in to coach a Philadelphia team?
I'm not going to bring up no retired dudes because they're retired for a reason.
Right.
Even with Doug and him winning the Super Bowl, there's one coach I wish the Eagles would have drafted after the 2012 season, and I still wish he was our coach now. Is Bruce Arians, man.
It's
I'm a
interesting.
Bruce Arians fan.
So Arians coached Temple back in the 70s and was like one of the few times Temple has been good in the past century.
Right.
I'm actually gonna go with college, man. I would love to see Coach K coach Temple. No disrespect to Aaron McKee, but Temple's basketball has been awful.
Oh, okay. I thought you meaning okay. I thought you meant professional sports, but okay.
It could be, just anything in Philly. If I was gonna go with professional, truth be told, I wish they would have given the head coaching job to Deuce.
Yeah.
You're a football coach now, okay?
Yes.
What position would you want to coach for the Eagles and why?
Ooh.
See, for me, I would want to coach the linebackers because I can't do any worse.
I would want to coach quarterbacks. And the reason why I would want to coach the quarterbacks is because of who our quarterback is right now. Listen, I'm not saying he's the answer.
He's the only one we got right now.
Right. But just hearing him talk, seeing his work ethic, how he carries himself, like he reminds me of an old school player where you can grab his face mask and be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the, you know what I'm saying? And this, that wasn't a knock towards Wentz because Wentz wasn't that way, obviously. But it just, I like guys like that. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, and there's other guys on this team I think right. I think Kelsey's like that. I think Lane's like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, grab him by the feet, like, yo, let's go. Like, let's get it. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, he definitely comes across as a throwback type of player.
Yeah.
That's tough. If you could make a sports movie about anything, what would it be about?
Yeah, that's you tell me yours since.
I didn't have one. I was curious to see what you would say, to be honest with you. Because you know what? Honestly, if I think that if there was a way to actually get the real story behind it, I would love to see a Hollywood movie about the 93 Phillies.
The 93 Phillies?
Because it's not a storybook ending. Like, so the 93 Phillies was a great thrill. They were predicted to actually finish worse than an expansion team and all that. So they literally came out of nowhere. And yet at the same time, they were the number one team in the NL, from beginning to end. But it is a story about because there is a backstory there. I mean, Darren Dalton was known as the dude that would get into a drunk driving accident every year. Before, he wasn't known as that captain player. Meanwhile, Lenny Dykstra was known as Nails and all that. Then you come to find out how much of a piece of crap he is in actually real life.
Right.
There's a lot of dynamics there. Not to mention some of the other, even the Kevin Stocker coming up, in May and actually, pushing them to another level. But he wasn't considered to be this top prospect. The shortstop sucked at the time. There was a lot of stuff there that it would be kind of Disney-esque, but it couldn't be done by Disney because there would be a little bit too much. If we made it kind of gritty.
On that same level, because it wasn't a storybook ending, but they captured the city and they actually went from being the fourth team to the first team. It was the 2010 Flyers.
Really?
Yeah, nobody expected them to do anything, and they ended up in the finals. And then just that Bruins series, just you get what I'm saying? It was They just had no quitting them. You get what I'm saying? They just fought, and they emphasized the city. And yeah, granted, they didn't win it at the end, but still, it was just
they made it to the finals with a goalie who was in the AHL. You know what I mean? That's a good one though. Name something if you would bring back to style.
It's number 3.
It's number 4.
Number 4.
What coach you would bring to Philly? What position you would coach?
I forgot about the position. Okay. What style would I bring back? Rocking a windbreaker outfit.
I listen, man. I ain't like the windbreakers when they were in style.
Oh, I like doing these in style.
To me,
Well,
man, I,
give me a suede, like, you know what? No, velour, bro. Yo, the velour shit. The
I will say
velour
this,
shit.
yo. I remember I had a cream colored velour suit with a pair of Timbs, and that thing looked fly. It's probably still look good now. I'd look old as hell, but it still look good.
Oh yeah, yeah. Somebody asked if he was a smoker though. They be like, ah,
Right.
what is that? What is that velvet?
I kind of wish like football jerseys would be back in style, like where you can wear
Yeah.
you basketball jerseys right now are actually still in style to wear in the summertime. Baseball jerseys here or there, but wearing a random football jersey, just it's almost like bummy wear to wear a football jersey.
And it's crazy because we were talking about that at work, and I was just like, actually, you know what? That's the style I would bring back for real. Is not just a jersey, but like we used to, the big fucking jean shorts that came to the calf, almost look like man prees. You know what I'm saying? With
That
the
was definitely a Northeast thing. They called them capris, but they were
man prees. No, but the jean joints, like the fucking John Cena wear, like
right. You always knew somebody was from Philly or New York. They were wearing those the shorts that came down to mid calf and Timberland boots in the summertime.
yeah. But in the summertime though, the real thing to do with them was wear a pair of Air Ones, all white. It depends on the jersey you had.
Right.
Ones,
Oh,
bro.
dude, man, I remember I had a pair of white Air Ones where the swoosh was red. I used to have a pair of black shorts just like that, and I had a throwback UNLV Randall Cunningham jersey. That shit was
I had the same jersey.
right.
You both use jersey, yep.
And there's no such thing as Saturday morning cartoons anymore, but to time to just have a throwback thing. If there could be a cartoon that you would put on Saturdays, what would it be?
You know what? 80s cartoon was cheesy as fuck.
Which one was it? They were all cheesy.
Yeah. But I'm not gonna say the most common one, like Transformers or G.I. Joe, but it kind of was in this mold, was Mask.
Mask. What was Mask?
Mask was kind of like, it was kind of like, all right, so there was like this gas station, right? And I forget what Mask stood for. It was like M.ASK, but it was an abbreviation for something. I can't think of it off the top of my head. And they sat around the table on the cartoon, and then the joint went like, I'm not going to try to sing the song, but they had like these masks, the helmets that went on, and it was like Masked Crusaders working overtime, fighting crime, and then they, and then like they're like the guy had like a car, and his fucking you would hit the button like on a toy, and the fucking wings would come up, and it had like missiles and shit. It was like it was dope as fuck. But the
So
action figures were only like this big, so you could, and so the vehicles were like this big, and action figures were like this. But Mask,
people, to give you an idea, this cartoon was on from 1985 to 1986. The cartoon was on. Now the action figures lasted for a while. They were based off the action figures.
It was like, but the thing on it stayed on the air for like
Mask
reruns.
Mask stood for Mobile Armored Strike Command. Command with a K.
Yeah. Yes, yo, because it was like right in there, like with G.I. Joe and Transformers.
And they fought against the criminal organization Venom, which was the vicious evil network of mayhem. You know what this reminds me of? Because it's funny. The one I would bring back, even though they have a newer version still now, it's never going to die, it seems like. But the 80s Ninja Turtles. And this almost reminds me, like this compared to Transformers would be like how Sewer Sharks was to Ninja Turtles. Sewer Sharks were like Ninja Turtles, but they were sharks. Like
right. Well, Mask was more like, it was like a mix between like if like G.I. Joe and Transformers had a baby. Like it was. You know what?
I remember the toys though. I remember you having those small toys.
Yeah, I mean, oh my god, I had the action. I had all the, and I tell, listen, we may have not had the greatest like food in our bellies or steered the right path. But we had some toys, bro.
Oh no, late 80s, early 90s. Yo, like here's the thing. I wish I would have held on. Granted, there's a lot of stuff I wish I would have been able to hold on to. But those Ninja Turtles are like, each one's now like $100. Yo,
I had Buck Rogers action figures when I was a kid, and the original Star Wars. Like I had the original Millennium Falcon and GI Joes and Transformers, and He-Man. But it's just funny, man. Like, but there was another one. Speaking of off-brand stuff, cartoons that I used to watch in the morning. I do remember I used to watch it in the morning. Was GoBots.
I've heard of GoBots. I didn't get a chance to really watch them.
Yo, bro, they were definitely like, if Transformers were sold, if Transformers were sold at Toys R Us, these motherfuckers were definitely sold at the $5 and dime, bro.
GoBot. You know what's funny? The one cartoon that like I think that I don't know why I really liked it. And if I probably watched it now, I'd be like, what the hell was this? There used to be a cartoon called James Bond Jr. And it was supposed to be like James Bond, like young nephew. And like that shit was great to me. It was awesome.
Oh my God. And one more that was it came out when I was starting to get a little older, but I still watched it, was Cops. It was like fighting crime in the future time. It was actually kind of cool. Like the Cops captain was like this black, like cyborg dude. He was like the police captain.
What's crazy is that for 80s and 90s, if it was somewhat interesting, they gave you a cartoon, man. Like Howie Mandel had a cartoon. Damon Wayans had a cartoon. MC Hammer had a cartoon. Wayne Gretzky had a cartoon.
Rhonda didn't remember this joint called Kid Video. It was a Saturday morning cartoon. It was kind of cool. It was like this
sounds familiar.
And they got sucked into the TV, into like the cartoon world. There was that. You know what else? Who else had a cartoon? If you remember, I think it was called like All Stars or something like that.
That's the one with Wayne Gretzky, Bo Jackson, and Michael Jordan.
Michael Jackson, Jesus. Michael Jordan.
Michael Jackson probably had a cartoon too. I just can't think of it.
They did. The Jackson 5 cartoon.
The Jackson 5 cartoon, yeah. New Kids on the Block had a cartoon.
Did they really?
Yeah, they had a Christmas special and everything.
But you know what, man? I miss that part. Like I miss that part of my childhood, like of waking up early Saturday, like, and it's starting like, and I was a kid that woke up early, or sometimes I would just stay up all night from Friday night because I was playing Nintendo or something all night, and then stay up all day Saturday and just crash Saturday night. But it would be like you would just be up and then like start watching cartoons at like 6 o'clock, and it'd be like Mr. Magoo and shit like that, and then it would just go on, and then like roughly around like 12 o'clock, I remember turning it to it was like, I think it was either 11 or 12 o'clock. I don't remember the exact time, but it was near noon, and I would watch NWA/WCW wrestling, and then at 1 o'clock or 12 or 1 o'clock, whatever it was Wrestling Superstars WWF. Then after that, just going outside, like I take my bike outside, especially springtime, and just be gone,
dude.
Like gone.
So when I was a kid, like in the early 90s, remember 6 a.m. waking up at like 6 a.m. 6 a.m. Winnie the Pooh came on. Okay. But it progressively, the shows that came on were geared towards an older audience the later it got. So like 11 and 11:30. There was a combination of things that would come on between 11 and 11:30 over the years. It would either be Power Rangers, or it'd be X-Men, or it'd be Spider-Man, or Batman and Robin. And then, like you said, like what would happen is then Superstars would come on at like 12 or like 12:30. And then after that, you go outside and play ball, or you get on your bike, but like all the kids in the neighborhood would do the same thing. So round one, everybody was ready to play. It wasn't like someone got a head start. Nah, everybody was doing the same stuff.
Yeah, we man, look.
No, but you know what it was for me? It was 12 o'clock, American Gladiators came on, 1 o'clock, Superstars came on.
Is that what it was? Because I remember but was American Gladiators on Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
Was American Gladiators Saturday? So I remember American Gladiators. You
Yeah.
remember that? And the cool thing, and I don't know if y'all did this because it may have been out of style by then, but I remember in school. So a lot of the schools, a lot of you don't remember or didn't have the school. There was a lot of schools at the time in the 80s and early 90s. A lot of the schools in Philadelphia, elementary school, went from like kindergarten to 8th grade. Right, I went to one of them. And but you had recess all the time. Like even when if you were 8th grader, you had recess. But I remember going to school, and each grade had like 4 classrooms, and each classroom had like 30 something kids in it. Right.
Right.
Going to school with your cardboard championship belt, defending that motherfucker, and you had to defend it at recess. And it was crazy because like the lunchrooms, like I went to Carnell Elementary, Frontanic and Devereaux in Northeast Philadelphia. I got bused, and like they had like 4 different lunchrooms for the classes. So like if you went into like if you had to go to the bathroom, which was on the other side, and so they caught you, you would get jumped. Or if you were walking down the hallway because your locker wasn't assigned by your classroom, it would just be a number. So you would get assigned a number. So if you you would get jumped, not really jumped, like you weren't, but like fun, like wrestling, like like they come up to you and then like a recess. It was crazy. Like, oh man.
So listen, that's our show. We're going to keep you up to date on other free agency stuff as they happen. Now we're starting to get into the bargain bin stuff where you can see the Eagles making some moves.
Right.
Anything else that you want to bring up?
Nah. Everything we talked about with the wrestling, do not try that at home, kids.
Yeah, right. Don't, or adults for that matter.
Yes.
You know.
Different time.
Right. But all right, y'all. We will talk to you soon, and I'll see you next week.
Peace.